In today's video, I'm going to show you 5 basic formulas to help you get started in Excel. Learning these 5 basic formulas will help you become more efficient and more productive. I've also added the timestamps down below in the description in case you want to skip to a specific formula. Let's get into today's video. Let's start with a sum formula. So to begin a formula, you can start by typing equals, or you can type plus in a cell and then start typing the name of the formula you would like. So in this instance, we're going to do sum, open parenthesis, and then Excel is asking what numbers do I want to add together. So first I'm going to start off by highlighting all of my values in column B. I'm going to close parenthesis, push enter. So I got a total of 390 in column B. You can also use sum by selecting just the values that you want to add and skip lines. So in this instance, I'm going to do oranges only. So I'm going to select just oranges, and I'm going to hold down the control key each time I click so that I can skip the rows in between. I close parenthesis. We got a total of 70 oranges. Another way you can use sum is you can type in numbers you would like to add. So let's say, for instance, I want to type in the number of oranges. So we got 10, 30, 20, and 10, close parenthesis. That'll give me a total of 70. And then the final way you can use the sum formula is if you go to your toolbar, click auto sum. Excel will highlight the range that it believes you want to add together. And if that range is correct, push enter on your keyboard and it will give you a total down at the bottom of 390, matching our value here. The next formula we'll look at is average. So I'm going to start the same way. I'm going to do equals, start typing average. And then I'm going to select the values I would like to average. So in this instance, I'm going to select all of my values from column B. Close parenthesis and enter. So the value of all of my counts in column B is 19.5. Now we're going to do the same thing as we did with sum, and we're going to focus just on oranges. So I'll take the average of oranges only. So I'm going to hold down control each time I click to skip the rows in between. Close parenthesis and hit enter. So my average value of oranges is 17.5. And then I could use average again, and I can type in the numbers I want to add. So we're going to use oranges. I'm going to do 10, comma, 30, 20, and 10. And that also gives me a value of 17.5. The next formula we're going to look at is count. So if I start equals count. So the count formula is going to give you a total number of cells that include a number value. It will not include text or any other values, only a number value. So I'm going to highlight the cells in column B. I'll do enter. So I have 20 cells that have a number value in it. If I use the formula again, but this time I include column A, push enter, it's still going to give me a total of 20 because the count formula will not include the text values in column A in the count. So if we want to do that, we can use a variation of the count formula. This is count A. So count A is going to give you a count of any cells that are not blank. So I'll highlight column A and B once again, close parenthesis, and this time it gives me a total of 40 cells that are not blank. So if I do it one more time, and this time I'm going to include the 2 blank cells at the bottom, also gives me a total of 40 because it's not going to count these last 2 cells since they are empty. The next formula we're looking at is the if formula. This is a very versatile formula that you can use in many situations. We're going to just look at the basics of it. So I'm going to start by typing equals if, and then Excel gives me this pop-up that kind of guides me through how to use the formula. So first I want to provide a logical test. So I'm going to provide the logical test of if my cell A2 equals oranges. So when you type it in text, you got to put in the quotations so it understands it's looking for a text value. And then once I add my logical test, I'd use comma. And now it highlights value if true. So if cell A2 equals oranges, what do I want the cell to return the value as? So I'm going to type in quote yes, close the quote, and then type comma. And then third, I'm looking if the value is false. So if A2 is not oranges, what do I want the cell to return? In this instance, I'm going to type no, close parenthesis. And so you can see here, because cell A2 equals oranges, it gives me a value of yes. So if I drag this down for an entire table, I should only have 4 yeses. So if we look at the 4 yeses, and we come over, we have oranges, oranges, and oranges. And then as you can see, apples, grapes, bananas, blueberries are all going to return a value of no. So then I can use the if formula again and just take it an extra step. So if A2 equals oranges, then this time instead of putting a text value, I'm going to ask that Excel returns the value in column B if column A is oranges. So it will be 2 if it's true, and then if it's false, we'll put return a value of 0. So I push enter, and you see the 10 matches the 10 here, and if I drag it down, we should have 4 values, and then everything else should be 0. So then I have the 4, and they're all the values of oranges. The final formula we're going to look at is the concatenate formula. So you can use this formula to combine multiple cells of text together. So I'm going to start with equals concatenate. I'm going to select last name, comma, and my second text I'm going to do first name and hit enter. So when I do this, this is going to combine the text together with no spaces or anything in between. But instead of being last name, first name together like that, I want to add a comma and a space in between the first name and the last name. So I'm going to do the formula again. And this time I'm going to select the last name, comma, and now I'm going to tell the formula that I want to add the comma space in between. So I'm going to start with a quote, type in what I want to add in between, which is a comma and a space, close the quote, and then do comma. And now I'm on text number 3, so I'll select the first name. And then the value returned is now last name, comma, space, first name. And if I copy this down, it'll do it for the rest of the table. Then as a bonus tip, typing in concatenate can be kind of long. So if you go equals concat, you'll have the same formula as concatenate, but just a shorter version of the formula names. So I'm going to do the same, where I have a comma, space, and then I'll select my text 3, which is the first name, and drag it down. And you can use this equals concatenate and add in pretty much anything you want in between. So if I wanted to do first name dash last name, so I'll select first name first, then I'll put in a hyphen, and then I'll select last name. So now this gives me John-Smith, and I can copy that down to complete it for the table. Thank you very much for watching today's video. And if you found this tutorial helpful, smash that like button and leave a comment down below which formula was most helpful to you. And if you would like to see more tips and tricks, click the next video on the screen for 10 Excel keyboard shortcuts, and I'll see you in the next one.